students and parents. Hope you're doing well. This is a new concept. It's called multiplication comparisons. And this is notes for that. So get a blank sheet of paper, students. Have your pencils nice and sharp. And just go ahead and follow along with the notes that I go over. We're just going to be looking at how to understand, how to define multiplication comparison. What does that actually mean? We're going to get a strong understanding of that before we go into doing some multiplication comparison. This is a little complicated. It is a fourth grade standard, and again, we're going to use models and equations, and this time we're going to put some words in there, and all three have to agree with each other. Okay, you'll need a line sheet of paper, and we're going to take some notes. This is going to be a new topic. We're ending quarter 2 and going into quarter 3. So this is going to be a new topic for you. Week 19. Put your name up there in the upper right hand corner. And we're going to be looking at multiplication comparisons. And just go ahead and write this down. If I go too fast here, just go ahead and pause the video. And but you're just going to copy, for notes, you just copy down the items that I'm writing down. So we're going to look at what we call multiplication comparison. So you already know your multiplication tables or your multiplication facts, your multiplication skip counting. All those should be pretty solid right now. You know how to multiply large numbers. We are not going to get into very large numbers here. But that part at the bottom of word problems where it says a statement, we're going to look at short math statements. Okay? And we're going to look at their equations. Now you've had this, okay, for some time right now. Because if I were to say, so this is your voice. So if I were to say 3 times 6 equals 18, I asked you to write an equation over here, you would say, oh, that's easy, Mr. Buttinger. 3 times 6 equals 18. Let's go ahead and write that down. Let's separate this with a dark line. Let's say 3, so the statement would be 3 times 6 equals 18. And over here you follow just what you heard over here. You say 3 times is the multiplication symbol, 6 equals 18. Now these are called equivalent. Equivalent. These are called equivalent statements. They aren't exactly the same. If I were to put 3 times 6 equals 18 over here, like the equation over here, they'd be equal. But we're using a statement that is equivalent to the equation. Now, we could move this around a little bit, and we could say, like let's say we say 18 is equal to 6 times 3. So let's say 18 is equal to 6 times 3. So go ahead and write that down. What would that be equivalent to as far as an equation? And you would read the statement again from left to right, and you'd write your equation from left to right. 18 is equal to 6 times 3. Now, these statements here just tell you what the equation looks like. In multiplication comparisons, we're comparing two amounts using multiplication. It's slightly different. This is going to look the same, but our statement is going to be slightly different. So let me take the same one and let me write it out as a multiplication comparison. Okay? Let me take this one and write it out as a multiplication comparison. So we have this example, we have this example. Let's see, well, actually, let's see if there's a third example we can come up with here. What one haven't we done? Well, here's our fact families. We've done our fact family on that. There might be only two for here. Okay, so this is what we're familiar with. Let's do something that's a little bit different. We're going to take this equal out, okay, in our statement here. And we're going to write this statement in a multiplication comparison. We're going to say 18 is, and we're just going to take the equal out, okay? And we're going to say 6 times as many as 3. So in this comparison, we're taking this 18 and we're saying it's 6 times as many as 3. So if you had 3 of something, 18 would be 6 times larger. I'll show you what that means in a picture down here. So let's say we have 3 grapes in one grouping. 18 of these would be 6 times larger than this. This would be 1 times larger. This would be 2 times larger. This would be 3 times larger. Are we up to 18 yet? 3, 6, 9. We're only up to 9. This would be 4 times larger. This would be 5 times larger. And this would be 6 times larger. So this is, if we skip count, it'd be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So the total amount here is 18. But if we only started with 3, how much larger would 18 be? And it turns out 18 would be 6 times larger. So we're changing our statement, the way we look at math. The equation's staying the same, but the way we look at math is a little bit differently. So 18 is 6 times as many as 3 would still be written as 18 is equal to 6 times as many as 3. So this is our 6 times 3. Here's 3, 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 18 is 6 times larger, or 6 times as many as 3. So think about that just for a little bit, and we'll go on to another example. Let's take this one up here, and let's say 3 times as many as 6 is 3 times as many as 6 is, now we're still using the same factors here. We're going to put, remember the is the equal sign, so what number would go here? Since we have the same factors, if you said 18, you're correct. But this is a little bit different. Instead of saying 6 times, we're saying 3 times. And instead of having the 18 start at the beginning, like we had here, we're going to have it at the end here. So let's see what that means. 3 times as many as 6. So let's start with our 6. Okay. That's one grouping. Two groupings. Three groupings. So this is 6, 12, 18. We still come up with 18. The product hasn't changed once at all. But you see how our grouping's different? Okay, here we're grouping 3 and here we're grouping 6. So this is 1 times 6. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. And here's 3 times 6. So again, we're saying 3 times as many as 6. So if we just had 6 of something, 18 would be 3 times more, 3 times larger, or 3 times greater, or 3 times as many. So here's the statements, the nomenclature, or the short math statements, that are equivalent to the equations. So this statement is equivalent to that equation. What would be equivalent to this equation? Let's just read the sentence again. 3 times, that's the easiest part because it says times, as many as 6, 6 would be our next factor, is, remember this is going to be our new equal sign, is equal to, we're taking the equal to out, is 18, is 18. So here's two equations that have the same product but are written differently depending on how we group these. And we had the same thing for our arrays. How we grouped our arrays was different and the equation had to agree with it. If it didn't, then it wasn't correct. So that's kind of what we're looking at for multiplication comparisons. I hope that's relatively clear. We're going to look at the work that's in your, how much time do we have left? We'll make that another video. We're going to look at the work that's in your packet where you're going to write a short math statement, an equation that's equivalent to it, and give it some time. There's quite a few of them. Some of them repeat, so you'll be able to work on ones that are similar. But this is the idea about making multiplication comparisons. The way you say it and the way you write it makes a difference in math.